Hey guys, Sandy here. Today we're heading outside because my front porch is getting a cozy Pottery Barn inspired Christmas makeover, but scaled way down to fit smaller space, and almost everything is made from Dollar Tree finds for a fraction of the cost. We're making some oversized jingle bells, a simple tree vignette, and I'm bringing back the wreath from a previous DIY and giving it a little upgrade with lights and bells. And at the end, I'll pull everything together so you can see the whole porch styled for Christmas on a budget. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's dive in. So the first thing we need for that Pottery Barn front porch look are the oversized jingle bells, but the full set is almost $500, and since I like switching up my decor every year, I didn't want to spend that kind of money. So I went to the Dollar Tree and hit up their party section. I picked up 4 of the largest bowls, 2 of the 2-packs of their medium-sized bowls. I also thought the mason jar lids with the stars would make great hangers for the top since they already had the hanger on them. Plus, I already had some inserts. I also played around with some additional tops and caps and some takeout containers and jar lids. For the hanger on the 2 other bells, I thought the Dollar Tree shower curtain rings would do the trick. I sprayed everything with Rust-Oleum Champagne Bronze, but if you want a shinier look, the metallic gold works beautifully too. And once I brought everything inside, I realized I wanted more than 4 bells. So I went back and grabbed a few bowls from the kitchen aisle. I actually love the different sizes. It feels more curated. And by the end, I had 7 bells in total. Because these are going outside, I weighted them down with rocks from Dollar Tree and attached everything with E6000 and hot glue. And if I were doing this again, I would actually glue them together first and then spray. That was much easier. For the slits and stars, I cut everything out on my Cricut, and I'll leave the files in the description box. But if you don't have a Cricut, you can totally freehand and paint the designs or make a simple template and cut them from Dollar Tree vinyl. I used about 4 of each design per bell, and that's what really pulls the look together. And the finishing them with the Dollar Tree rope, tied just like the Pottery Barn bells, really finishes them off. So now that the bells were finished, it was time to start creating the tree vignette. And honestly, this is what inspired the whole porch makeover in the first place. I have been seeing so many designer layered different tree heights together in those big, dreamy front porch displays, and I just love that cozy woodland look. And instead of buying new trees, I shopped my house. I pulled out a few older trees I've used over the years in different parts of the house and even on our patio. The only new one was this 3.5-foot lit tree from Dollar Tree that I grabbed for $10, which was actually perfect for filling out the vignette. Before I could start styling anything, the porch needed a quick clean. I used the little Webster duster from Dollar Tree. That thing is surprisingly good for grabbing cobwebs from corners, and then my electric blower, which I use constantly. I'll link it in the description box in case you're looking for one because it makes porch cleanups so fast. Once everything was clean, I started placing the trees. The tall wicker planters I thrifted were perfect bases, but they needed a little help staying upright. I tried to use their stand and even one of the legs to wedge them in place, but that didn't work. So I ended up using smaller vessels inside the basket, adding some rocks from the garden for weight, and I filled the gaps with plastic bags. Very glamorous, I know, but it works and no one sees it. And for now, I placed 2 trees on the side of the door and added lights. I didn't think I would use that 3rd tree, but it comes into play a little later, so I was glad I had it. And already I love how it's looking with just 2 trees. It instantly adds height and warmth to the porch. Next, I wanted to work on the wreath. It's the one from my previous DIY, the Williams-Sonoma inspired one, and I really wanted to reuse it here to keep the whole porch refresh budget-friendly. All it needed was a little glow. So I added these solar fairy lights. They turn on automatically, so I don't have to remember to turn them off or turn them on. The wire disappears into the branches, and it gives the wreath such a warm, inviting look at night. I'll link them below if you want to try them too. Then I needed to fix the wreath hanger. You might remember this one. It's the same hanger I used for my Halloween DIY, where I popped off the skeleton hand. and it left a bare white spot right in the center. And since we're clearly in a Jingle Bell theme today, I grabbed a couple of from my stash and hot glued them on. It took about 30 seconds, and now it looks intentional and festive. And once that was finished, it was finally time for my favorite part, decorating the porch. The first thing I wanted to put out was the rug. I found this one at Ross for $6.99, and I couldn't believe how similar it looked to the Pottery Barn rug that sells for $49. It has the same classic cozy Christmas pattern and instantly grounded the whole space. It was such a lucky find. Once everything was prepped, it was finally time to start pulling the porch together. And this is honestly my favorite part, the styling. I started with the bells because they really set the tone for the whole look. I played around with them for a while, grouping them together, spreading them out, pulling them closer to the trees, stepping back and moving them again. It's amazing how just shifting them a few inches can completely change the vibe. And since they're the main focal point, I wanted them to feel just right. Next, I brought out a basket of firewood and pine cones. This is one of those little touches Pottery Barn does so well. The natural textures, the stacked wood, the mix of warm, cozy elements, adding it instantly made the space feel more intentional and pulled together. And that little sprig of holly with the red berries, it added the tiniest pop of color. And that's when I realized I actually did need that third tree after all. The right side of the entryway felt a little empty on camera, and sometimes you don't notice these things until you start decorating. So I pulled out the extra tree, fluffed it, added some lights, and I'm so glad I kept it. It balanced everything perfectly and made the space feel fuller and cozier. Then I noticed one last bare area, one of those awkward little spots your eye keeps going back to. I used to put some little gnome trees there, but the gnomes were looking a bit sad this year. So I pulled them off and just kept the trees. I repotted them and tucked them into some planters, and it was the perfect finishing touch. It filled the gap without feeling busy or cluttered. And once the trees were lit, the bells were styled, the wreath was twinkling, and all those little textures and details were layered in, I stepped back and everything finally came together. Cozy, welcoming, and just a little bit magical, the kind of porch that makes you smile when you pull into the driveway. And honestly, proof that you don't need a big porch or a big budget to create something beautiful and festive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday.